The Edo State local government crisis is a complex issue that has been unfolding over the past few weeks. At the heart of the crisis is the dispute between the state government led by the governor, Monday Ogbeide, and the local government chairmen who were suspended by the State House of Assembly on December 17, 2024 for gross misconduct and insubordination. Now, the crisis took a violent turn when gunmen attacked some local government areas, injuring several persons. The situation has been further complicated by the impeachment of some local government chairmen and their deputies, which has been seen as a move by the state government to consolidate its power. One of the impeached chairmen, that's Paul Yoa of Essence Central Local Government Area, has accused Governor Ogbeide of orchestrating his removal from office due to his political alliance to the People's Democratic Party gubernatorial candidate, Adaze. Now, civil society organizations, CSOs in Edo State, have appealed to the governor to restore the suspended local government chairmen to their offices, urging him to respect the wish of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who advised governors to collaborate with local governments to drive development at the grassroots level. And of course, before we get to the conversations this evening, we of course have a package which will give you an overview of what is happening recently as regards this topic. Take a listen.
The political landscape in Edo State has been rocked by a wave of impeachments targeting local government chairmen, following a controversial decision by Governor Monday Ogbeide to suspend all local government chairmen in the states. This move, which was met with widespread debate, set the stage for a series of political showdowns at the grassroots level. The crisis began when Governor Ogbeide, citing allegations of financial mismanagement and inefficiency, announced the suspension of all 18 local government chairmen in Edo State.
Provide me with your books. They said, oh, we'll bring it in 24 hours. The man said, no. We give you 48 hours. Bring these books to us. 24 hours which they choose by themselves, they never did. 48 hours that the deputy gave, they never did. 2 weeks, nothing happened. I said, no, this cannot happen. I have to send a letter to EFCC to please look into these people's record. At the same time, I also sent a letter to the State Assembly. Invited them, they refused to come, and State Assembly decided to say, okay, we suspend you for 2 months so that we can look into your record.
This house, seeking us to suspend the government chairman for everybody to do their investigation on their books. Should be admitted. We say,
Reacting to the developments, Nigeria's Attorney General and Minister of Justice, Lateef Olasukome-Fagbemi, issued a strong statement.
Under the present dispensation, no governor has the right to remove any local government chairman. That much I know. If I didn't know, since July 11, 2024, I became aware of it, that removal of any local government chairman or official would be the prerogative of that local government.
Despite his legal position, events in Edo State escalated as local legislative councils, many believed to be influenced by the state government, began impeachment proceedings against the suspended chairmen. In several councils, chairmen were ousted in what some critics described as a coordinated political purge.
Having gotten the majority votes of the House, Dr. Eric Iyobosayende and Honorable Mrs. Osamuyi-Dene is hereby impeached as chairman and vice chairman of the local government council.
Some of the impeached chairmen have vowed to challenge their removal in court.
The moment APC won, was the clear winner, you now see everywhere people were trying to give, they were coming up with different threats. So we were going to various councils to say, you must leave. So we started doing posters. So all these are evidence that our lawyer presented to court. We are saying purported suspension, because as I speak, I still have not received any official document to that effect that I am suspended. So I still have not received anything from the Edo State House of Assembly or from any agencies of government that I have been suspended, or the 18 that any of us have not received any of such letters. So not obtain, that is, we received that, and look at the law to justify such claim or not, if it's right or wrong. We remain the executive chairman of our various councils.
As the situation unfolds, all eyes remain on Edo State, with concerns mounting over the broader implications for democracy at the grassroots level. Will the federal government intervene? Will the courts uphold the suspensions and impeachments? The coming days will be critical in determining the future of local governance in Edo State.
And of course, that's a package put together just to give you an overview of the recent happenings in Edo State. I have with me on the program this evening, joining virtually, two amazing gentlemen. I have Ogbeide Ifaluyi-Isibor, the former Commissioner for Digital Economy, Science and Technology, joins virtually from Edo State. I also have Sosa Awere, that's Andrew Emwanta, the PRO of the Edo State APC. It joins virtually. Thank you, gentlemen, for your time on the program.
Thank you.
Good evening, Dr.
Good evening.
Thanks for having me, but I'm not the PRO. I'm not the PRO of Edo EPC.
Oh.
I'm a member of the party.
Oh, you're a member. Okay, we of course sincerely acknowledge that and apologize for that. But thank you, and Happy New Year to you, to Mr. Ogbeide. It's great to have you on the program again.
Happy New Year to you, sir.
All right, let me.
Here. Thank you.
Great. Happy New Year, sir. Now, let me start with you. With the, will I use the word allegation by the governor as regards some of the suspended local government chairmen as regards the movement of about 12 billion naira, to some chieftains within the party. We know that the People's Democratic Party, has responded to this, saying that it's pretty much unfounded and misleading. I'm directing my question to you, sir. What do you make of this, the statement by the People's Democratic Party saying that, look, there's no substance to this?
Well, thank you for having me. And
what the governor said yesterday when
sorry, Mr. Ogbeide.
Chairman.
Mr. Ogbeide, please, 1 minute. Let's allow you answer. It's your question, sir.
Okay, my question.
Yes, Mr. Adaze.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to be sure.
Yes.
So as I was saying, about 15 of the acting chairmen of the local government in Edo State visited the governor yesterday in Government House, and it was during that parley they had that the governor made the reference to a particular amount he saw when the Accountant General was having a discussion with him, and his question was, what was this money meant for in one of those accounts? And he said that it was a contribution from the allocations of the 18 local government chairmen that hitherto were domiciled in a particular account, and there was no evidence of how this monthly sum was spent. But there's evidence that that money, at the time he came in on the 12th of November, last year, was dissipated. And that amount of money had been collected for over 1 year. When he invited his local government chairman to explain the fact that this money tagged environmental security, and there was no evidence to show that each of these local governments were using this money for that so-called environmental security. He now demanded for accounts. The meeting was between the chairman, that's the suspended chairman, and the deputy governor of Edo State. They, on their own motion, when the deputy governor said, I want people to come back within 24 hours, they now said they needed an extension. So there was an agreement that within 48 hours, they will bring statements of account to explain, how this money got in and how this money is being spent. For over a week, they didn't turn up. The matter now went to the House of Assembly, and of course, they made certain efforts for this particular amount, for them to justify what this money was meant for. As yet, they refused to give any account to the House of Assembly. That now prompted a petition the governor wrote about 2 weeks after that particular request was made, that there was need for an inquiry. And under Section 20 of the local government law, the House of Assembly, or rather the governor in consultation with the House of Assembly, can suspend this chairman for a period of 2 months to allow for an inquiry. So that when the House passed that resolution and communicated same to the governor, of course, these persons were suspended. The governor appointed a panel of inquiry, of which I'm a member. But sadly, as we speak, efforts have been made to get the same statements of account from this chairman, but they have refused to submit any of these records to our panel. But rather, what did they do? About 3 or 4 days later, they went to secure an ex parte order. And that ex parte order, first, does not have the House of Assembly as a party, neither did they join us, a panel of inquiry recognized under Section 20 of the Edo State local government law. So I think the PDP is out to distract this government in Edo State, the APC government in Edo State. But we refuse to be distracted because we can only have one governor. They cannot run a parallel government at the local government level. And under this present administration, there will be a high level of probe into the level of financial malfeasance perpetrated by the PDP government led by Godwin Obaseki.
Well, you said they cannot run a parallel government at the local government level. Are you insinuating that?
At the states, whether you call it at the local government, because Edo State remains one state with a two local government under the leadership of just one governor. And if you look at the provisions of Section 7 of our Constitution, it places local governments under the control of states. For the purpose of emphasis, Section 7 of the Constitution is very clear that a system of democratically elected councils under this Constitution is guaranteed, and went further to say that it is the House of Assembly that has the power to make a law for the existence, establishment, structure, function, and finance of these local government councils.
But right now, sorry to interrupt your line of thought. But I think I also need to come in here. Looking at the recent Supreme Court ruling, I mean, the local government is the third tier of government. It's a government on its own and shouldn't be in under the control of the state whatsoever. But looking at this scenario right now, it almost looks that way.
Can you just listen to me? What I said is that they are under the control of the states as provided under Section 7. It is the drafters of our Constitution that has made it so. We don't need to pretend that in Nigeria...
You said they are under the control of the state, but we just played a clip. I'm sorry. You said they are under the control of the state, but we played a clip where the Attorney General...
of government, but under the control of states.
Of the state? But this contradicts what the Attorney General of the Federation actually did say in a report we played. Maybe we should play that report back.
Let me explain what the Attorney General said.
Oh, okay.
Because some of the words used by him are technical in nature.
Technical?
He said
he used plain words.
The governor cannot remove from office a local government chairman within the meaning of the decision given by the Supreme Court in July. What was the decision of the Supreme Court? It had 2 levels. The first was you pay this amount standing to the credit of local government directly to them. by virtue of Section 162. And by virtue of the fact that these are democratically elected councils, you cannot wake up as a governor and just dissolve them, right? What happened in Edo is not a case of dissolution, but it was a case of suspension. And if you hear what the Attorney General was saying, that the people who have the power to remove from office local government chairmen and their vice are the councillors. The governor did not impeach by any stretch of the imagination in consultation with the House of Assembly.
But the governor, but you would agree that the governor, but you would agree that the governor is trying to, in a way, influence and control the local government chairman or their activities. Do you agree?
The states don't have control. I've been saying it.
So you are saying categorically that the governor, in all of this, the governor did not act out of line
of the states. That is what the law says. It has nothing to do with paying money directly into the accounts. Because when we talk of financial autonomy, it does not take away the power and the duty of the states to regulate the activities of these local government councils. Our president, when he was governor of Lagos, created local governments that now made the local governments in Lagos to be 57. As we speak, they are still in existence.
Okay.
They call them LCDAs.
Mr. Emwanta, can we, go on a quick break? When we return, we'll be bringing in Mr. Ogbeide's thoughts on this, but we need to pay some bills. We'll be right back. Thanks for staying with us. This, of course, is still Politics HQ, and we are looking at issues arising from the local government, well, I call it crisis right now in Edo State, where the governor has suspended some local government chairmen, and this, of course, is generating political heat. I have my guest with me. They join in virtually, Mr. Ogbeide Ifaluyi-Isibor, and also Mr. Adaze Emwanta. Gentlemen, thank you for staying with me. All right.
Thank you very much.
Let me move to you, Ogbeide. I mean, you've had a couple of things Mr. Emwanta said. Probably you'd like to react, given the fact that the recent move by the current governor of the state suspending the local government chairman and the issues we are seeing arising.
Well, thank you, and I pray that you give me just as much time as you gave my brother. I would first of all want to situate this argument on the right foundation. First of all, therefore, Section 7 of the 1999 Constitution as amended does not give state governments any control, authority, or power over local government councils. That provision of the law is clear and is written in plain English. It only says that the state should ensure that local governments exist. It did not, by any stretch of imagination, give state governors any form of control over local government councils. Local government councils are a tier of government, an independent arm of government, just like state governments and federal governments. There is no form of control that the state government can have over a local government as enshrined in the Constitution. That is number one. Number two, the governor sent a letter to the House of Assembly citing insubordination that stems from the fact that local government council chairmen refused to obey him by submitting their financials to him 2 weeks after he has requested them to do that. My dear friends, let us be educated. A state governor does not have any form of authority or checks, especially after the 11th of July Supreme Court judgment that gave full autonomy, administrative and financial, to local government councils. What did the Supreme Court judgment really say? I'm not a lawyer, but I'm a student of the law. And these things are written in plain English for anyone to understand. Two things. It gave local government councils the right to take decisions or actions without recourse to the state governor. Number two, it gave local government councils the right to manage their finances and deploy their resources without interference of state governors. Those are the two clear standpoints on which that Supreme Court decision was made. And that is why the Attorney General of the Federation has submitted himself to the judgment by the Supreme Court, saying that a governor cannot request for the financials of local government councils because he doesn't have that authority. And it is sad and shocking that the Edo people and indeed Nigerians have been so misled to think that the governor can request for financial records of local government councils. And we're hearing that, oh, today they're talking about 800 million naira. Tomorrow they're talking about 15 billion naira. The APC government in Edo State cannot even have one line of thought. They can't even have one story. Tell us one thing. They're tossing from right to left at every point of discussion. The truth is that the governor told the members of the House of Assembly, these local government chairmen have refused to submit their financials to me after making the request. So please, I'm making reference to Section 10 of the Edo State Local Government Law as amended, and on that premise, take actions that you deem fit. Let me announce to you, and to Nigerians generally, that even the Section 10 that the governor made reference to has absolutely no bearing with suspension or dissolution of local government councils. It only made reference to the tenures of local government councils. So that suggests that even the letter that was sent to the Edo State House of Assembly was not appropriate because you were citing a wrong section of the Constitution. And it's so shocking and sad that the legal team of the governor did not even advise him that there was an error in the letter that you were sending.
Okay.
And it's even more sad that members of the House of Assembly could not even confirm to cross-check that the section that the governor is citing is wrong, and it has no bearing with what we're talking about. What the governor really wanted to do was to cite Section 20, subsection 1 of the Edo State Local Government Laws that gives him the authority to suspend erring local government chairmen on the basis of them flouting their activities as local government chairmen, not submitting themselves to what the law requires as local government chairmen. It does not include their financials. The only arm of government in the state that has the authority, that has the imprimatur by the Constitution and by the Edo State local government laws to look at the financials of local government councils are the honorable councillors so elected.
All right.
So
all
the
right.
House of Assembly, the state government cannot request for the financials. That is number one. Then number three.
Okay, let me allow you land.
Just a second.
Okay.
Okay. So I was going to rest on the fact that we cannot agree to be a decent society. We cannot agree to be ruled by laws. We cannot agree to submit ourselves to the Constitution and give all manner of self-interpretations of the Constitution. The Constitution is supreme, and all other laws are subject to the Constitution. And the Supreme Court is the arm of government that interprets the law, that interprets the Constitution. So what the Supreme Court says, to the extent to which they say it, is final. We cannot be quoting the Edo State local government law side by side a Supreme Court judgment.
Okay, so I want to pick up from there. I want to pick up from there. I mean, and I'm going back to you, Mr. Emwanta.
No, you're not giving me enough time like you gave to him, just to let us note that.
Okay, but we'll come back to you. We'll come back to you.
Right.
I would just like him to respond to that Supreme Court ruling on July 11th. Just give me the opportunity to sort of do a recap. Now, the ruling, which was delivered on July 11th, 2024, declared that it is unconstitutional for state governors to hold funds allocated for local government administrations. The court also held that local government councils should manage their funds independently without interference from state governments. This decision is expected to enhance, grassroots developments and, of course, provide the dividends of democracy. But what we are seeing and what you have said seems to contradict this ruling. So are you saying that there are other rulings higher than that of the Supreme Court?
No, with profound respect, Dapo, it appears we keep adjusting the goalposts.
How?
I've studied that decision of the Supreme Court, and it's very clear. Pay them their money directly, because what was a practice before now that created a mischief for which the Attorney General sought legal interpretation was the fact that state governments were the ones spending the local government funds. Just as the governor of Edo State discovered that there was 800 million for a space of over 1 year, when you times 800 million by 12, you discover that it runs into billions. To clarify the doubts in the minds of my brother there, because this thing has persisted for months, even years, because in Edo State there was a time Obaseki ran local government for 2 good years with people who were not elected. So it was not something that just started today. And just to say that the Supreme Court decision of July was not the very first on this issue. The Supreme Court has said it time and time again, that nobody can just wake up, dissolve local governments, appoint caretaker committees, which is not the case here. But again, even the Supreme Court says states don't take local government funds, but it does not take away the role of states to regulate their affairs.
In what capacity? Please, can you clarify in what capacity? How can states, in what capacity? I'm sorry, in what capacity can states now regulate the affairs of local government?
Because there are 2 things here. I give you a simple analogy. You have a student in the university who is on scholarship. The scholarship board says, we are going to pay his bursary, which includes his upkeep, directly into his account, because there was a mischief of the federalists collecting this money and using it for other purposes. But does that payment directly to the student's account an act that takes away the in loco parentis duty of his father or his parents? And are you now saying that the parents cannot determine how that money is spent in a manner that he does not use that money to get narcotics and things that are not associated with the purpose of which that bursary is given? Because the mischief becomes clearer when a governor asks, how have you spent 800 million of taxpayers' money? And we hear that part of this money was used for campaign. Part of this money was given to party leaders. And mind you, I was in government. I knew how these things were done. So, Section 20 of the Edo State local government law, nobody is saying that the governor cannot activate the provision of this law. My brother made reference to a Supreme Court decision. Decisions of Supreme Courts cannot supplant the provisions of statutes. Statutes are statutes. The Constitution is the source by which the Supreme Court can sit. If we don't have a Constitution, the Supreme Court cannot sit, because they are creations of the Constitution.
Okay.
It is not the duty of the Supreme Court to amend the Constitution. And I want to quickly clarify a misconception put out by my brother, that Section 7 does not give control of state. It only allows the state to make laws. If you have the power to make laws, what are laws? Laws are meant to regulate. And that is why Section 20 allows the Edo State House of Assembly to do what they did based on the request of the governor and set up a panel of inquiry, which is still in force. Until that law, right, is repealed outrightly. And in its place, another law made that remains the law.
All right.
And Section 10
all right, Mr. Emwanta, I'm sorry. I know that you have a lot to say, but we need to go on a break.
Even the letter written by the governor, making reference to Section 10, the governor did not even mention dissolution in that letter.
We need to go on a break.
It was after that letter was written,
we need to go on a break.
Because the law says you consult with the House. The House of Assembly now says, let's look at the law. Section 20 allows the governor
we need to go on a break. When we return,
for a period of 2 months,
when we return,
an inquiry.
When we return,
directing the governor to do that.
Okay, your point has been taken, Mr. Emwanta. I really do not want to cut into your line of thought. But your point has been taken. We need to go on a quick break. When we return, we'll also be taking the, of course, thoughts and reactions of Mr. Ogbeide, Ifaluyi-Isibor. Do stay with us. We'll be right back. Many thanks for staying with us. It's still Politics HQ on News Central Television. And of course, we are discussing the recent developments in Edo State, where some local government chairmen were suspended by the state governor. I still have my guest with me. Gentlemen, thank you for staying with me. Now, I would like to bring you in, Mr. Ogbeide Ifaluyi, your reactions to some of the things Mr. Emwanta has said, and what you feel should be the ideal.
Well, thank you. Thank you again. My thoughts and prayers are with the Edo State government just now, and of course to my dear brother. I could see him having a very hard time trying to argue against the decision of the Supreme Court. And it is crystal clear. I mean, anybody can understand exactly what the Supreme Court is driving at. Yes, states and local governments used to share joint accounts before as directed by the Constitution, but the Supreme Court has now said that let local government councils manage and administrate over themselves without the interference of anybody, because they are an independent tier of government servicing the majority of Nigerian people. And I'm in quandary as to why we're having to have this argument, because it is crystal clear. A governor was getting upset that local government chairmen were not submitting their financials to him. Meanwhile, before he came into office, there is a Supreme Court law, a judgment, saying that, sorry, Governor, you do not have any authority over the funds or financials of local government councils. It is only clear that the governor was not properly briefed, or there was a deliberate mischief to mislead him to take that action. That is clearly what it is. And if the Supreme Court has said one thing, the Attorney General of the Federation has said one thing, the Chief Judge of Edo State has said one thing, a High Court in Edo State has said the same thing. And even a few days ago, a federal High Court was suggesting to the Edo State government to stay execution as at December the 15th, because it was obvious that there was a misunderstanding of what the laws as presently constituted suggest for local government councils. And I am utterly bemused that my learned brother, who's a very senior lawyer, is not being honest with the Edo people and Nigerians, clearly what the law says. Section 7 again of the Constitution does not in any way, he could read it out if he has a copy of it, does not by any stretch of interpretation give state governments control. If local governments are to make laws for the entire state, which includes local government councils, does that mean that the houses of assembly have authority over local government councils? And let's just put that aside. There's been cases of impeachments going on in Edo State. And let us make it clear that we are a society governed by laws, governed by the Constitution. There is a way to impeach a local government chairman. It is a process as enshrined by the Edo State local government laws. It is not an event that happens by 12 midnight or that happens in 10 minutes. It is a process. And all through these impeachments or the purported impeachments, none of them have followed that process. Even the same local government laws that we're discussing about submit that when a local government chairman and the vice are to be impeached, after the councillors have had their briefings, a panel is set up, a 7-man panel is set up. And after all that has happened, and they have resolved to impeach the chairman, they send that resolution to the State House of Assembly. Upon receipt of that resolution, 2/3 members of the House of Assembly have to decide the merits of the resolution by the House of Assembly, and then are now the final authority to decide if the impeachment will go on or not. So it is a process. And those who have crafted these laws understood the processes. And I'm wondering why we're having to excuse this. And my brother is a lawyer, I'm not. If for any case, he should be the one defending the law, and not the way we're trying to see it happen. Obvious misinterpretation and turning a blind eye to the irregularities, to the illegalities performed by the Edo State government. I think we owe the Edo people and we owe Nigerians the truth. And we must be honest about it. Politics cannot just be centered about individuals. It must be centered about the people and the overall welfare of the people. Governor Monday Okpebolo is supposed to superintend over Edo people, and he swore to an oath to promote peace and to ensure that the security and the lives of the people are ensured.
Mr. Ogbeide, I want to ask you a direct question. I want to ask you a direct question. The Attorney General of the Federation, that's Lateef Fagbemi, is one that state governors, that bypass this Supreme Court judgment on local government autonomy may lead to contempt of court charges. Do you think with what the governor has done, it should be charged, with contempt of court?
No, the law will have to take its course. And I want to appeal to the federal government and also to the Ministry of Finance. No funds should be sent to local government councils in Edo State until normalcy is restored. We must fix culpability where it is. Where there is irregularities and illegalities, we must address it. A governor cannot, on his own, disobey the Supreme Court, disobey court orders, and to us it is okay because it appears to be he's a member of our political party. We must submit ourselves to the law. We must submit ourselves to the Constitution. All right. And so if the Attorney General is saying that there is a penalty to states that flout the Supreme Court law, it is applicable to all, and I don't say there's not an exception. And we must appeal to the people. We must stand up today for Edo people. We must stand up today for the laws governing Edo State, and we must make sure that this madness does not continue. Local government councils were duly elected by the people. They owe their performance to the people who elected them, not to the governor or to the House of Assembly.
All right, thank you so much. Let me bring in Mr. Emwanta into this. Now, you said you are a member of a panel of inquiry. I believe I got that correctly in your introduction on this matter. We know that part of the issues at stake is a 12 billion naira misappropriation. What has your panel found out as regards, the financial status of these local governments? What are the revelations?
Yeah, Dakpo, I'm not going to, on national TV, tell you what is supposed to go to the House of Assembly because you are not the one who appointed me. I think what you should do is to limit yourself.
Okay, but don't you think that the people of Edo State too should at least have... The people of Edo State would want to have an idea of what you have discovered or found out.
Details of our panel of inquiry,
you might just...
which, of course, should go to the House of Assembly. The law does not say I should come on national TV to tell Nigerians...
I'm also asking you, on good credence, yeah. I know the people of Edo State are watching. They would also want to know what exactly it is you have discovered.
But the 800 million, is it not an issue that the governor said himself? I mean, that's a hint of the many other malfeasances that have taken place. But that is not the point. Just to correct an impression, he made reference, my brother, Ogbeide, though he said I'm his learned brother, but I will accept that, because it is lawyers that call themselves learned brothers. I want to quickly correct that impression. He made reference to an ex parte order, and he said that the order of the Federal High Court related to December 15th. That's not correct. What the judge said was that parties should maintain status quo. So meaning that all the impeachments that took place before that order was given stands. That's what the law is. Until a substantive, or rather until the court now gives a decision on the substantive issues. And besides, the Federal High Court in Abuja cannot determine what happens in a state like Edo under a federal system, right? Because we are talking of an Edo State government law that regulates local governments, which is not within the meaning of Section 251 of the Constitution that talks about the exclusive jurisdiction of the Federal High Court. And for the past 1 month, they have been on ex parte order chasing. They've gotten as many as they could get to restrain completed actions. But that is not to say we are in contempt, because the Supreme Court was very clear. We were not in court over the Edo State government law that the governor acted on, because every case is decided on its merits. The Attorney General went to court to seek an interpretation as to whether governors on their own can just dissolve local governments and appoint critical committees. That is one leg, which is not the case in Edo. And to determine whether local governments can get their money directly. So every other thing justices of the Supreme Court said is obiter, because in every decision, there are two aspects. You have the racial dissidentity, which I've just brought out, and a chance remark known as an obiter dictum. So all those statements you read, they are obiter, because Section 7 of the Constitution cannot be amended by the Supreme Court, because the Supreme Court's duty is to interpret the law and not to make laws, not to amend the Constitution, because the Supreme Court of Nigeria is a creation of the Constitution. It is only the National Assembly that can amend the provisions of Section 7. And until that is done, states still have control of local government.
All right,
but
we need to go on another break.
Directly, yes, we are ready to abide by that part of the.
We'll definitely pick up from your last point, but we need to go on a break.
We also align ourselves. We are aligning ourselves with the fact that a governor cannot dissolve a local government council, which has not happened in Edo State.
Okay, so we'll pick up from there. We'll pick up from there, but we need to go on another break. Of course, when we return, definitely the show will continue. Stay with us. Many thanks for staying with us. It's still Politics HQ, and of course we're at the final hours of today's episode. Just before I go, let me go back to my guest. I want to bring in Mr. Ogbeide Ifaluyi-Isibor. Your final thoughts on this, and what do you anticipate happening, particularly on the part of the People's Democratic Party in the coming days? 30 seconds.
Well, thank you again, because it appears that we've been dancing in circles, trying to disagree with the Supreme Court, and to give the governor powers that it doesn't have for the State House of Assembly. Just allow me read Section 20 of the Edo State local government laws. It says that every local government chairman can be removed if the governor is satisfied that the chairman of a local government council is not discharging the council's functions under the law in a manner conducive to the welfare of the inhabitants of the area. What has that got to do with not submitting their financials to the governor? It's a simple question. I just read to you the provisions of the Edo State local government law. What has that got to do with it? So it is clear that this whole thing it's based on illegality. And we must speak the truth to power, regardless of what side we're on. And that's my appeal to my dear brother who's on the other side. So let us read the laws. And I wish we could read Section 7 of the Constitution.
So are you suggesting that all of this is pretty much politically motivated than within the context of the law? Is that what you're saying?
It's a flagrant abuse of power and disregard for the will of law. And that is why it should not be allowed to stand. It's as simple as that. Because this is it. It is going to cause crisis in the state. We're seeing people being wounded, or we're seeing thugs, mental hobos, going from local government to local government councils, ensuring the suspension of or the impeachment of local government chairmen. How can it be that non-state actors are now wielding state powers, going around with policemen to ensure a suspension purportedly by the Edo State House of Assembly?
All right, Mr.
Ogbeide. A lawless society? That is unknown to Edo State. This is an Edo State that is or was the cynosure of all eyes. When it came to development, people talked about Edo State. When it came to digital transformation, people talked about it.
We really need to go. Mr. Ogbeide, I'm sorry. We really need to go.
It is sad that now we're slipping so deep into the gutters, and we expect decent people to rise up to the occasion, to speak for the people, to speak for the progress of Edo State.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you so much. I'll be coming to you, Mr. Emwanta. In 30 seconds, what should we expect in the coming days on this matter?
When you have a good story, you can tell a good story in less than 30 seconds. He used more than 2 minutes, but just to say that we have peace in Edo, and the present government led by Senator Ogbeide, who has a mandate of developing the 18 local government, is on course. Those 15 chairmen who have been impeached have the duty of going to court, and those who are now chairmen have a duty of supporting the governor. These are PDP individuals. We are ready to work with them in taking Edo to the next level, because the mantra of the governor is a new Edo is rising. And I invite my brother, my younger brother Ogbeide, to join the governor of Edo State, irrespective of his party affiliation, so that we can bring good development to our people.
All right. Thank you so much.
I cannot be a part of illegality. It's unknown to me. I'm a decent human being. We cannot be part of illegality. Thank you very much.
Wow. It's been a great one on the show this evening. Thank you so much, gentlemen. Mr. Ogbeide, Ifaluyi-Isibor, and also Mr. Adaze, Emwanta. Gentlemen, once again, thank you for your time.
Thank you for having me.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Great. It's been a good one tonight. In case you missed out, you can actually catch up on our YouTube platform. That's at News Central TV. You can also choose to follow us on social media. The handle is on your screen there, News Central Television. You can choose to follow me personally at Dapo at Digboye. There will be a repeat broadcast later tonight. Until I come your way tomorrow, good night.